What's going on, guys? Welcome to this week's video. I'm Steve, and today we're gonna be doing more 1JZ Fox body stuff. So the last video, we got this thing back from Mike, fabbed up the new turbo kit, he modded the housing, he did all the pipes, he even gave us this sick titanium intake, and now it runs and drives. But it is not done. So this week I am going to be disassembling this engine, and we are going to be focusing on some heat management. So for heat management on the turbos, you can do a whole bunch of things. You can wrap it. You can get this crazy like crinkly looking stuff that you can wrap all over the downpipe. You can do the fiberglass wrap. You can get gold everywhere. I definitely don't want to wrap it because I do not want to cover up sweet looking area. So instead I am going to be Cerakoting it or using like an automotive ceramic coat. It's supposed to be really good with heat management, and you can get it different colors. So I am going to be taking the turbo off, the downpipe off, the screamer off, the manifold off, my valve covers off, and I'm also going to be taking my intake off. I have a couple ideas in mind for color choices, but I'm not 100% committed to them yet, because first I got to take all of this stuff off, scrub it down, and get it to Red Tower Armory. They're located in Ajax, and they're going to be doing all of the Cerakoting for me. I'm also really interested to see what the cams and under the valve covers look like on a 1JZ, especially this one. So this is also going to be a great opportunity to appreciate all of Mike's super sick fabrication. There's the new mid pipe, no more smushola, and woo baby, look at that nice little dump pipe. That is gonna be nice. All right, we got it taped up. We're in the air. Order of operations are going to be turbo feed line, downpipe, turbo, charge pipe, intake. Get all this stuff out of here, get it on the bench, and then we're gonna take the manifold off, intake off, all of that stuff. So let's do the hot side first. Let's go. These clamps are nice. O2 was very loose. Pull it down on me. Down pipe out. Wow, that was easy. That is a swanky little pipe. I like that. Yeah, don't do what I do. This was not on even close to tight. There we go. Turbski. So I'm no expert, but I think maybe that's why this thing was leaking. I gotta take the CX manifold off, which is gonna suck because this bolt, this nut, that bolt, nightmare, like an eighth of a turn at a time nightmare. So I'm gonna do that. Okay. Dump tube has to come off. Balls. You can actually access the dump tube on the top, which is quite handy. Okay. Yeah, it was definitely the dump tube. Okay. Closer look at Mikey's little screamer. All right, exhaust side is done. All of the downpipes, everything like that, were super easy to get at. Next step is going to be getting this intake off. I've never taken a JZ intake off before, so this is gonna be pretty interesting. If I had to guess, I mean, I'm just gonna start taking stuff apart and see what happens. Okay, we are almost ready to start unbolting the intake side. Pulled all of the harness off this side of the car. Don't have a lot over here. Pulled off all the injector harness, the cam position sensor, the VVTi. Basically, my entire harness is laying over here. Don't forget, label it, because you say you'll remember now, but then later you'll be like, I don't remember. Charge pipe is off. All this good stuff is off. Fuel rail is unhooked and drained. You can see it's just sitting there at the back. So now it is time to start trying to unbutton this thing. Hey, okay. Cool. Oh my God, that's dirty. Before I take this off, I want to show how gross this is. Yeah, this area right here by the fuel injectors and the fuel rail has bothered me for some time. That's cool, my valve cover's leaking. I love that. It's kind of reminds me of the BMW. This is so freaking gross. Now we gotta take our valve covers off, and I'm super curious to see what it looks like underneath here. Now, how do I want to get this thing up? I'm gonna say gently, because if this casting snaps, I'm fucked. Okay, there's one. Dose. Let's take a real good look at all these cam lobes. We're looking at some stock JZ cams. Definitely, ooh boy, how's that last one doing? Oh, it's just oil. So, kind of looking pretty good. Some gross ass oil under it. I mean, I don't see anything horrific. That's the main thing. I don't see any chewed up cam lobes. And same story with the valve covers. These things are a little milky because it's been cold, but like, there's no serious gunk buildup here. So everything's looking pretty darn good. I am going to clean these dogs up as best as I can. Same with this disaster down here. Get it ready for the Cerakoted. Quick look at the stock 370cc injectors. They're a little cooked. And they were super dirty. These are very clean compared to what they were. All my parts are clean, organized, one color, two color, which is great. So that means I'm basically done cleaning parts with the exception of motor. This thing is driving me nuts because it looks like a bunch of butts. This thing is disgusting. So I took a garbage bag, folded it up all real nice like, and drove her home with a couple valve cover bolts to try and make as good of a seal in here as I could. It's packed with rags underneath here, and I got the added protection of the bag on top. All of my intake ports are filled with paper towel, and then I didn't have any duct tape, so I went for duct tape. Tape those puppies up. Exhaust side, I'm a little less worried about, so I just kind of left her open. But now, I'm just gonna kind of give it a little brake clean scrub down and just try and make this thing look a little bit nicer. I don't have a good way to catch all of the stuff, so I guess it's just gonna go on the floor. Tough break on that one. The big time degrease is done, and it is cleaner. Whether or not it looks better, yeah, it just looks really rusty right now. So that tells me that the oil was an integral part of this. You know, you're gonna get that on these big jobs. What I do like is you're not gonna be able to see any of that because turbo is gonna be sitting in front of that. This part of the head is nice and clean. The intake side, equally as difficult to see. Better, not so rusty, still pretty dirty. But up here is way better, which is what I was going for. And my cams aren't full of junk, which is also really nice.
Several days later.
So I got all my parts back from Red Tower. Took about 2 weeks. Coated it bronze and silver, or like kind of like a polished aluminum look. Oh boy, they are absolutely beautiful. I want to start putting them back on the Fox body as quick as I can. But I had to lay them out on the table and just show you guys how freaking sweet these things look. So now that I have all this stuff back from Red Tower, I have to start the reassembly process. In addition to being very careful not to scratch or break any of these parts, I also have to semi-reassemble them. These are the baffles out of the valve covers of the 1GZ. I need to clean these up. These were siliconed and bolted in place, so I gotta be really sure that I do not mess up and drop a bolt into my cams. So I gotta scrape and clean all of these, and I have to remake a gasket with some Permatex Ultra Black Gasket Maker. Scraping, cleaning, making sure all these are super clean. I'm gonna brake clean the Christ out of them. I already know my valve covers are clean. Put a thin bead of this stuff on and crank these bitches back down. So let the reassemble begin. A little bit of sealant popping up through there is what I saw when I came into this, so not super concerned about that. So these are my valve cover bolts. They're not really the nicest. They got all the washers, they're still good. I don't have a bench grinder, but I do have this. I don't know if I should be impressed or just ashamed of myself. First valve cover is back on. Just placed in there, but oh my God. That looks so dang good. That looks really good. All right, I have to do this. Beauty. Okay, after much delay, lots of careful assembly, hot side is officially together. The turbo manifold's on, turbo is on, downpipe is on, wideband is in, intake is on, feed line is done, drain line is done, wastegate is on, dump pipe is on. All of the lines are run to it with the exception of the MAC valve, but it is like basically done. So the only thing I'm not 100% on this thing is the drain line. So my drain line is down there and it is pretty tight to that header. Like it's for sure touching. We've got it all DEI fire sleeved. I'm hoping that's gonna be enough. And I'm hoping all these bolts are tight because it's time to start on the fuel system. So over here I have some Bosch 1000s from Performance Fuel Injection out in Calgary, Alberta. And these are great, but unfortunately these pins are not going to work for them. So I'll show you the comparison. The pin placement is basically the same, but unfortunately the clip placement is not. You can see these were the ones that were originally on there, meant for the factory 370cc injectors. These are for the 1000s. Still same pin placement, but I have to take these apart, repin them into this guy with a little side safety clip, and we're good to go. All of this is done. So I have changed out all of the injector harness connectors. These are updated to work with the Bosch 1000s. And now we need to reassemble the intake, which is going to involve cracking the fuel lines and doing a bunch of gross stuff like that, but it's time for final reassembly. Then we can do some tuning to make sure these things don't flood the crankcase, and we might even be able to start this dang thing today. Bugger. If I had to take a guess, I'd say you go something like that. This is gonna be difficult, I can already tell. Okay. This thing ain't light. And there we go. TPS you under. Good. Bam. Like that. Boom. Last step before we do some fire up is we got to do some tuning. So I changed fuel pressure. It's right here. So I want this sitting around 45, 50. Right now we're, 47, 45, and it obviously falls off. So that's kind of where I wanted it. Didn't want to get it too hot, too crazy. Now we got the alerts on there too, so we can kind of set all that. Now I got to go in here and tell the computer that, hey, these are no longer 370cc stock injectors at 95% duty cycle. They're big dogs, 1000 cc's. And we don't want to basically flood the motor with gas. So I'm on line with my buddy Jason right now. We're gonna try and figure this out. Finally alive again. Stinks. So this is it. This is the final form of the new turbo kit. Everything is fastened down, everything is on here, everything is Cerakoted. So for heat management, a big part of this is Cerakoting the back housing, the manifold, my downpipe, and my little dump pipe down there. The Cerakoting on my back housing, my downpipe, my intake, that is gonna help lower the temperatures under the hood up to about 30 degrees Fahrenheit, which isn't a lot, but it is gonna keep the heat inside of there. As for my front housing and my intake over here, that is gonna help try and keep the heat out of them, try and keep them a little bit cooler. My feed line, I have DEI fire sleeve on. My drain line, which is extremely close to the manifold, I also have DEI heat sleeving on, which is good up to about 1000 degrees. So once we do the old beep boop on the computer, get this thing running and driving and starting properly, we're gonna be taking it to Brett all the way to Calabogie so he can tune it and hopefully crack that 400 mark. We're just gonna have to wait and see. Like, comment, subscribe, tell your friends. Thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate you very much. We'll see you on the next one.